Tonight, the province's unknown soldier lies in state at the Confederation Building ahead of Monday's historic Memorial Day ceremony. Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Here and Now. The rain didn't deter hundreds of people from paying their respects to the province's unknown soldier today in St. John's. The soldier's remains lie in state tonight at the Confederation Building as part of a public viewing this weekend, and that's where Heather Gillis is live this evening. Now, this comes in the lead up to a massive effort to mark Memorial Day this coming Monday, the 100th anniversary of the Newfoundland National War Memorial in St. John's, where Ferry Roberts is standing by live. So let's begin at the Confederation Building. Heather, you were there today as the crowds lined up in the rain to pay their respects to the unknown soldier whose remains were brought home after a century in northern France. So Heather, what can you tell us about this public viewing?
Well, Carolyn, all weekend here in the lobby of the Confederation Building, the unknown soldier will be lying in state, so the public will be able to come in and visit and pay their respects. Of course, all of this is the prelude to his full military funeral on Monday, which is Memorial Day, and it's going to be a ceremony full of special details for a man who gave it all.
People have been filing past the unknown soldier's casket all afternoon, stopping to have a moment, say a prayer, and ponder the possibility that he could belong to them. Connections to the Royal Newfoundland Regiment of the past still strong today.
I had a grandfather, Bert Tuck, and I'm from Grand Falls, and grandfather got gassed in Passchendaele, and my wife had 3 great uncles that were killed in the First World War.
Others proudly wearing the regiment's colors and emblem while they pay respects.
I'm here representing my grandfather, Thomas Carmichael, number 126. It's a big honour to come in and see the unknown soldier being laid to rest. I think it's very important in Newfoundland history. So as you see, there's people starting to file in here now.
Many braving the elements today for a chance to thank this soldier for making the ultimate sacrifice.
But also, there's no mud, there's no rats, there's no dysentery, and there's no bullets flying at me. I don't think I could say the same for that man lying in there. So a little bit of wind and rain. We're Newfoundlanders. We're supposed to be used to this.
How meaningful is this to you?
Oh, this is one of the most patriotic things that you could probably do right now. And this is a historic moment. We are the only country that fought in the First World War that don't have an unknown soldier. Because remember, we were our own country back then. So it's really fitting that we have our own unknown soldier.
The unknown soldier was transferred from a secure location at the rooms taken through the city by hearse to the Confederation Building this morning. His pallbearers, all from the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, taking him on another slow and steady procession. Steeped in military tradition, this entire event and last month's repatriation, all happening because of the spark of this man, Navy veteran Frank Sullivan, standing at attention, relishing the moment.
I can't describe the emotions. He left some little house somewhere in Newfoundland, and now he's going to the people's house in Newfoundland. So what more can one ask for?
Today, the Newfoundland Red Ensign lays on the soldier's casket, the flag he would have fought under, as centuries do their duty. His headstone here, too, previously marking his place as an unknown soldier from Newfoundland who lay in northern France for more than a century. Who he is, where he came from, how he died, his name, we'll never know. But his legacy will live on, representing all who fought when he's entombed at the National War Memorial on Monday. It's a ceremony that'll include a 19-gun salute, a military flypast, and 800 forget-me-nots will be poured inside his tomb.
And of course, that ceremony will be part of a special broadcast on CBC, so we'll have full coverage of that. And for anyone who wants to visit the unknown soldier here at the Confederation Building this weekend, the lobby here is open until 7:30 tonight. from 11 a.m. to 7:30 tomorrow, which is Saturday, and on Sunday from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, then 10:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. Reporting live from the Confederation Building lobby, I'm Heather Gillis for Here and Now.
Well, the Premier greeted members of the public this afternoon, those who stood in the rain to line up on the steps of Confederation Building waiting for an opportunity to pay their respects. Premier Andrew Ferry is the ceremonial next of kin for the unknown soldier. He says today is an emotional day, not just for members of his own, members of the military rather, but for people of the province.
I hope he would be proud. You know, my family and I got to spend a private moment, and that was the message that we conveyed to him was we hope he would be proud. We hope he would know that the people of Newfoundland and Labrador showed up for him. They showed up for him when he landed. They're showing up for him today. So we hope that he would be proud and that he would know, and his family would know, that the sacrifice he made, the ultimate sacrifice, wouldn't be in vain. In fact, it was not in vain. It's for the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy today.
Let's head now to the National War Memorial, which was refurbished at no small expense in anticipation of the unknown soldier's homecoming. Here and Now's Terry Roberts is standing by live. So Terry, Monday's ceremony holds particular significance for those with a direct line to the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, people like the Squires family.
Yeah, yes, exactly, Carol. Look, we paid a very heavy price in the First World War. A province with half the we were a self-governing dominion at the time with half the population that we have right now. You know, families such as the Eyre family, the Taylor families, but also the Herder family paid a big price in that war. And I'm going to bring in a member now of the Herder family, Jim Herder, all the way from Aurora, Ontario right now. He lives part-time here in Newfoundland. Thank you, Jim Herder, for joining us.
You're most welcome. It's nice to be here.
Yes, well,
a little bit of it was dry, but anyway.
But we're not complaining.
No,
that's right.
We have nothing to complain about. The War Memorial looks fantastic, and I recommend anybody who's in the area to come and see it today. And
but Mr. Herder, you lost two uncles.
Yeah.
You have one uncle survived the war. Why don't you walk us through how how deadly the First World War was for the Herder family?
Well, it was pretty brutal. Hubert was killed at Beaumont Hamel on July the 1st, 1916, and his older brother Arthur was wounded, as was Ralph, and Arthur was killed the next year at Cambrai. Ralph came back to St. John's, where he was publisher of the Evening Telegram, which was founded by his father, and he was the father of Steve Herder, who still would be remembered by a lot of people in St. John's. Mm-hmm. And my Aunt Elsie went over for 2 years to serve in the voluntary aid detachment of the nursing, driving ambulances and so on behind the lines. So out of the Herders' 10 kids, 4 of them were actively involved and 2 paid the price.
Right, so a devastating time obviously, but you're here today. I'm wondering, what is it you're reflecting on as you look at this refurbished war memorial and you think about the entombment on Monday of our unknown soldier? What strikes you the most?
Well, what strikes me is the number of unknown soldiers there were. I mean, they were known only to God because their bodies were never found. And one of those was a Herder too. It was a cousin of my uncle's, and his name was Wallace Herder, and I saw his name at Beaumont Hamel in 2006 when we went over for the 90th anniversary.
Right. So, yeah, Jim, I know it's going to be a tough time, emotional time for it changed the course of history in this province, and of course it also changed the course of history for the Herder family. Suffered some big losses. We thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Rev.
All right, back to you folks in the studio.
On July 1st, join us for a very special program, a historic day in St. John's.
There's a lot of emotions. We're all feeling it. Tears we're going through.
More than 100 years ago, he was one of thousands who signed up to serve in the First World War. Now, after a long and lonely century buried an ocean away, one of Newfoundland and Labrador's sons has come home.
One word, I guess, if you had to sum it up, would be pride.
Join me, Heather Hiscox, at the National War Memorial in St. John's as the unknown soldier is finally laid to rest. At 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 9 in Newfoundland, everywhere you watch CBC News.
We will return to our coverage of Newfoundland's unknown soldier shortly, but for now, some other news of the day. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro says a small team is back in Churchill Falls as the threat of the nearby forest fire diminishes. About 750 people were ordered to evacuate the company town on June 19th. And while Hydro says it may take several days or longer before people can return to their homes, fire officials say ground crews and helicopters are fighting the smoldering fire today. And there's more rain and low winds in the forecast for this weekend.
When the public are driving through the area, since the highway is open now, they might well see some smoke activity along the highway. So it's favorable for no spread now today. And the weather looks favorable for some precip maybe tomorrow evening and into Saturday. So we are expecting some good days with minimal to no fire spread, so we can action this fire on the ground and from the air resources as required.
And staying with the fires, there's an update now to tell you about ahead of the Memorial and Canada Day long weekend. The province has lifted its fire ban on the island. Now, that ban does, however, remain in effect for Labrador, where crews are still battling wildfires. The City of St. John's canceled its annual Canada Day fireworks display yesterday because of the ban, which was said to be in effect until the end of July. Now, despite the ban being lifted, the city says it won't go ahead with fireworks come Canada Day. In a statement today, the city says the province gave them no warning and says it's too late to re-secure all the necessary services in time for the 1st of July.
And it has been very windy, very rainy over the last couple of days across the island. So no surprise that that fire ban has been lifted. More rain today, thanks to an area of low pressure. But things dry for the most part up across Labrador. That next band of rain or next amount of rain going to move in for tomorrow and continue into Sunday. But much cooler temperatures still lingering, starting to see some warming for the west. But yeah, we've got a lot of rain for a good chunk of the island. And it is tapping into some moisture, some tropical moisture. It's very humid out there as well. But as we head into tomorrow, things will dry out. But another round of some moisture will move in as we head into Sunday as well. Now, as far as the precipitation is concerned, 19.2 millimeters of rain today in St. John's. June, so far, 207 millimeters of rain. We typically see about 88, and this is in fact a record for June. Like I said, a little bit more rain on the way. We'll get into the forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, Marine Atlantic's new ferry isn't off to a very smooth start. It's run into another delay. The company says experts are continuing to clean debris from the fuel and lubrication system of the Alisuwinu. That work will delay the start of the ferry service from Argentia until July 10th. It's the third time crossings on the new vessel have been delayed. Cancelled crossings will be rerouted through Port aux Basques, with additional crossings being added on other vessels to meet demand. Marine Atlantic says it will contact affected travelers directly. Well, teachers and employees in the province's education system got quite the surprise yesterday when their expected paychecks weren't deposited into their bank accounts. The province's Teachers Association says government responded quickly and many people were paid yesterday. Government says the issue was a result of a file not properly loading overnight. But the association's president says it's just the latest in a series of issues with teachers' pay.
We have people with mortgage payments, car payments. They default on their on their payments, and as a result, whether recharge is applied, we've approached government and said, look, if there are any fees, we want those fees paid. We've been given commitments that is the case. But yeah, just the uncertainty of how long this was going to take was the bigger worry today.
And in other news, Princess Anne is back home tonight. King Charles' younger sister has been released after spending 5 nights in a Bristol hospital. The 73-year-old suffered a head injury on Sunday. It's believed that injury may have been caused by a horse. And that led the princess to cancel several upcoming events, including a planned trip here to St. John's to take part in Memorial Day ceremonies. It's unclear when she will return to public duties. Well, back in 1964, the province was marking 50 years since the outbreak of the First World War. A massive ceremony was held here in the capital city, and then Colonel-in-Chief of the regiment, Princess Mary, sailed in for the occasion. So we dipped into the CBC archives to bring you some of that ceremony.
You carried the honor of Newfoundland's name in your hands to Europe, to the Middle East, on land, on sea, in the air, and you held that name, Newfoundland's name, high. You embellished it. You made the world respect Newfoundland's name. You and your comrades who didn't come back.
In this city 50 years ago, and 120 years after the formation of the first regiment to be called the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, your regiment was encamped, having reformed after the outbreak of the First World War. During that war, Princess Mary met many of our soldiers in hospital and on leave in the United Kingdom, some of whom are here today as revered veterans watching their regiment parade. I am pleased, on behalf of your regiment, to ask you to accept this brooch, which is a replica of the present badge of the regiment, as a memento of this occasion.
This replica of our regimental badge will always remind me of my fighting Newfoundlanders and of my visit to you today. The fighting Newfoundlander has played his part, whether in the defense of British North America, of his own native land, or for the freedom of the civilized world, the freedom that he himself holds so dearly. I am particularly happy to have been able today to inspect so many veterans of my regiment who served in the First World War. The young soldiers who come not only from St. John's, but from Corner Brook, Grand Falls, Bell Island, and other communities throughout the province, have a name to live up to and an honor to uphold that should make them both proud and fearful of the trust that has been placed in them. I am confident my Royal Newfoundland Regiment will continue to play its part with honor and distinction.
Well, you are looking at a live shot of the National War Memorial in downtown St. John's. This is where thousands are expected to attend Monday's Memorial Day ceremony. We'll have more on the repatriation of the unknown soldier and how the public can take part. That's still to come on Here and Now. Ashley, lots of rain out there today, and it was interesting to hear you say earlier that June was a record-breaking month for rain in St. John's, and it looks like it's still raining out there from what we saw with Terry's interview down at the National War Memorial. They were getting a little bit wet out there.
They sure were. Yeah, that rain has now moved back in, some of the heavier showers, and this is going to continue for a little bit, but we should see that eventually taper off tonight. Let's take a look at where we are as far as rainfall goes across the province. So we do have some showers for the Green Bay, White Bay area. Some of these heavy today, and they're starting to taper off and will do so in the next hour or so. A little bit of lingering showers in behind that, but it shouldn't amount to what you saw this afternoon. And there's that last round, I guess we can say, of some heavy showers rolling through. A little bit behind there as well that you may see over the next hour or so. But for the most part, we should be seeing some the showers tapering off through the overnight tonight. As far as temperatures go today, right now it is feeling fairly humid out there. Drop now degree since that rain has started. 18 degrees in St. John's, feels more like 23, but it's still feeling more like 25 in Gander at the moment, and much cooler though as you head west. Temperatures only in the teens right now and starting to warm up a little bit up across Lab City. You're sitting around 17 degrees at the moment. So we're going to say goodbye to this humidity tonight as we see a drop, or I guess that tropical moisture move off this air mass. But as we head into Sunday, particularly late day and early Monday, we will see some of that muggy weather move back in, but it should be comfortable for the rest of the week, it looks like at this point. So there's that rain there on the future tracker. So like I said, should taper off tonight. Maybe a few lingering showers in the mix, but overall nothing too significant. And then we've got some cloud cover and showers moving in Lab West by the time we get into tomorrow morning. Now temperatures tonight are going to be chilly once we see that front, or I guess the area of low pressure, move through. Temperatures will continue to drop off. So we're only sitting in the single digits tonight, barely double digits in Marystown. But the reason for that is we're going to see the wind shift. So they're southwesterly now. They will change to northwesterly overnight tonight. 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Most of Labrador, into all of Labrador really, into the single digits, 2 to 7 degrees, generally light winds, but they will be out of the south. Now for tomorrow, we'll start the day cloudy, likely with the chance of some drizzle or showers for pretty much the eastern half of the island. That should clear out though, but we will see some cloud cover move back in by the afternoon for the west coast. And then we'll see these showers roll through most of Labrador, heading towards the coast as we get into the afternoon and evening, and then eventually some clearing overnight for the north coast. But definitely some much needed rain again continuing up across Labrador. And again, we will see those showers move in by morning on Sunday for the west coast and the northern peninsula as well. Our temperatures tomorrow are going to be cooler than today. We'll sit into the teens for most. And again, the winds will shift from northwesterlies to southerlies again tomorrow, but they'll only be around 20 kilometers per hour. Most of central Newfoundland will hover between 19 and 20 degrees cooler, though, along the south coast, and that's because you're going to be in onshore flow. But for tomorrow, it looks like a pretty decent day. Most of us will be seeing a mix of sun and cloud through the afternoon, with the exception of the west coast. Like I said, you will be seeing those showers the cloud cover move in as the day goes on. Winds will be out of the southwest, a bit breezy, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, but generally in the mid to upper teens through the day. Northern Peninsula and along the strait there, you're going to be sitting between 14 to 16 degrees, still in the 20s. For southeastern portions of Labrador, though, 22 to 24 degrees, cloudy skies. Your showers will arrive late day, but you're looking at southwesterlies anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. And again, rain really the story for a good chunk of the big land. Your temperatures will reach about 21 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, but you're still hanging on to those temperatures in the teens for both Lab City and Churchill Falls through the afternoon, with more rain through the weekend. We'll get into all of that when I come back.
just down the hill from the National War Memorial in downtown St. John's is Harborside Park. It's where First World War soldiers departed for battle overseas, some never to return. It's also where surviving soldiers would eventually be welcomed home. Our Terry Roberts is live at the National War Memorial tonight. He's joined by someone whose family tree is rooted in the regiment and the First World War. Terry.
Yes, Carolyn. Well, I'm just looking at what's called Kings Beach. It's about 50 meters from where I am right now. On October the 4th, 1914, the first contingent, the Blue Puttees, left here and they sailed off to Europe. A 6-month adventure, many of them felt it would be, but it was nothing like that. It was a horrific hellscape they entered into, fighting in Gallipoli and so forth, and then moving on to France and Belgium. And, you know, it's over 100 years later, but it's still, the connections are still very deep. So I have someone here with me now. I'm going to invite in Jamie Squires. Jamie, welcome to Hearing Now.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, I want you to tell me the story. I've never met the descendants of, we all know that at Beaumont Hamel, 800 men went into battle, 68 answered the roll call the next morning on July 1st, 1916. I've never met the descendants of someone who answered that roll call the next day. Your grandfather.
My grandfather.
Tell me who he was and what happened.
Jack Squires, 367 Regimental, fought at Beaumont Hamel. He went to Suvla Bay first, was wounded, went back to England, got patched up. Instead of coming home, he went back into battle again, went into Beaumont Hamel, and he got a severe wound. His hips, he got shot in both hips. And I guess he stayed down as much as he could. And when they answered the roll call the next day, one of 68 answered, and he was there.
Right, but that wasn't the end of the war for him.
No. He went, he got all healed up and everything else, and he ended up going back. He went into Monchy-le-Pieu, and he fought at Monchy-le-Pieu, and he was captured. The 155 men were captured from the Newfoundland Regiment, and they were held in a POW camp. He had a lot of shrapnel in his leg, and he ended up being treated in a German POW camp. And then as he got stronger, he was making birch brooms and light duties. But then as he got stronger and healthier, they put him in the rock quarries. And he worked from, I believe it was like 5 in the morning till 8 at night. You know, they took a lot of punishment, you know, the odd kick, the odd blow from, you know, the soldiers and whatnot.
But he survived that. He got through it. He made it home, had a family.
Yeah, came back. And he started working and went right back. He was demobilized, as they called it.
Right. He passed away in 1970. You were lucky enough to meet him and to experience him in your life. But just quickly, tell us what you think about what's happening this weekend and on Monday.
Monday, I'll be down here bright and early. I said to my wife, we're coming down here bright and early. This is phenomenal. This, for the people who did this, incredible work. You know, there was point there that it didn't look that great, but all of a sudden, like looking at this here now, the work that's gone into this is fabulous. I encourage everybody, get down here. We all got a connection with the Newfoundland Regiment.
Jamie Squires, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Jamie Squires talking about his grandfather, Jack Squires, an original Blue Puttee, one of the few who survived at Beaumont Hamel to answer the roll call the next morning.
And Terry, Jamie Squires says that he's going to be down there bright and early on Monday. What should people at home who are watching right now, what should they know about Monday's ceremony and the best way to take it all in?
Well, that's the thing. We've seen pictures from 100 years ago, and there were like 20,000 people down here. But 100 years later, this is different. You know, there are a lot less viewing opportunities this time. There's going to be a lot of security here because there's a lot of VIPs. There's going to be 500 people in the parade that day. So it's going to be limited opportunities to be up close and personal down here. But, you know, the CBC has an answer for that. We're going to be broadcasting live on News Network the whole ceremony down here. And if you do come down, and if you can't get close enough, there's going to be big screens, several down here. There's going to be one at Harborside Park. There's going to be a viewing at Sheraton Hotel, another viewing set up at the rooms. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities for people to see what is going to be a very historic event in, again, a momentous moment in the history of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, one unknown soldier brought home to represent them all. Just ahead, we return to the Confederation building where that soldier is lying in state this evening.
Welcome back to Here and Now. We are in the lobby of the Confederation building where Newfoundland's unknown soldier is laying in state during this special broadcast. And joining me now is Frank Agogas, and we have been talking about the number of times that you have been to the battlefields in northern France and across Europe and in Turkey, and you've been there a number of times, leading tours, what, 10, 15 times, Frank?
Somewhere around there, yes.
Yeah, and how special was this time? Because you were there to act as a historian and guide while we were in France.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to be asked to be on that trip, the repatriation trip. And a lot of people ask me, you know, what do you feel? I find it very difficult to put into words, but you know, I have no doubt is probably one of the most profound trips that I've ever been on and one of the most important.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about the connection that so many people in this province have to the regiment of the past. What's your connection?
Well, my great-grandfather served in the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. He fought in 6 battles, and he ended up as a prisoner of war, but he was one of the lucky ones to come home. Unlike this young soldier behind us who is lying in state today, he never had the chance to live a full life, and you know, I think it's an extremely important moment in the history of Newfoundland, and you know, it's extraordinary. And my apologies.
It's emotional, and I felt it, and I think that you are feeling it
right now.
Yeah. What do you think it is about this that moves so many people?
Well, a lot of Newfoundlanders are connected to the soldiers who served in the First World War, and we've never really forgotten. And there's been an uptick in interest over the last number of years. And this particular event probably signals a closure for many families who lost loved ones, who are missing, and have never been able to go visit a grave. And now we have one of ours buried on our own soil for that commemoration. And you know, this is a very special event. It's likely never to happen again, and you know, that's because of our unique history, and it's you know, sometimes it can be very overwhelming.
It is, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. You're also involved with the Royal Newfoundland Regiment Museum and the family that the regiment is. How are they reacting to all of this, briefly?
You know, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of sadness, a lot of happiness. There's, you know, it's a commemorative event this weekend, and to see one of our own brought home to be commemorated forever and on our soil, it's extremely important to us in the regimental family that this continues. We know he represents all of the unknowns, but he's still a Royal Newfoundland Regiment soldier.
Indeed. Well, Frank Gogus, thank you so much for being with us, and for anybody who wants to come to the lobby here of the Confederation Building, you can do so until 7:30 tonight, and until 7:30 tomorrow, and until 4:30 on Sunday. Reporting live from the Confederation Building, I'm Heather Gillis.
Well, joining me now is someone who was key in the repatriation of the province's unknown soldier. Berkeley Lawrence is with the Royal Canadian Legion. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure to be with you, Carolyn.
So the unknown soldier lies in state this evening, back in his home province. Can you talk to me about what this moment feels like for you?
Well, it's emotional, of course, you know. Bringing the soldier home to Newfoundland, so all Newfoundlanders can get the opportunity now, especially those who have relatives from the past who are unknown. They have no known graves in Europe or anywhere. So this would be a great place for them to go to reflect and to visit.
Can you talk about the journey that took place to get to this moment in time?
This was a 6-year journey for me. I started this program in a project in 2018 just to have the War Memorial refurbished, cleaned up, to be ready for the 100th anniversary, 1st of July this year. As we progressed through that phase of getting the War Memorial refurbished, Comrade Frank Sullivan, a friend of mine and a Royal Canadian Legion and a veteran, brought the idea forward to bring home a soldier to Newfoundland and used the premise that Newfoundland was not part of Canada in the First World War or the Second World War. So like any other country in the Dominion of Great Britain, we should be allowed to bring our soldier home. And it follows on from what Padre Nangle planned in 1924 when he had the War Memorial open. It was always his dream to bring home a soldier so Newfoundlanders would have a place to go to mourn and reflect.
Yeah. Can you talk to me a bit more about that and explain why it's so important for this province to have its own unknown soldier?
Well, the soldier in Canada, in Ottawa, represents those Canadians that fought in the First and Second World War. And because they took him from Vimy Ridge, and no Newfoundlanders fought at Vimy Ridge, we've always asked the question, does he really reflect the people of Newfoundland and Labrador? So, you know, following that vein, that's why we pursued to bring home a soldier for Newfoundland.
What was it like for you this morning to see the unknown soldier being brought into Confederation building?
Well, it was very emotional, of course, and close to the end for me, which I'm looking forward to. It's been a long time and a lot of work put into this.
Yeah, and it all culminates on Monday, 6 years in the making for this upcoming ceremony. What are you hoping the people of this province will get out of this? What are you hoping people will feel when they're down at the War Memorial on Monday for that ceremony?
Well, I mean, going to visit a War Memorial and seeing names is one thing, but to be able to go, like the one in Ottawa, look what happens on November 11th in Ottawa. That tomb goes from a grey granite tomb to a red poppy covered tomb, and I'm sure the same thing will happen in Newfoundland. It'll give everybody in our province who is connected to the First World War, Second World War, any soldier that served or is serving, a place to go to reflect and to remember the sacrifices that have been made for us.
Veterans are aging now. More and more time is passing. Why is it so important to have this kind of significant reminder to the next generations coming up through of what happened in the past with the war?
I think you basically answered that in your question. We need to educate the younger generation and our immigrants that are coming into Canada. What's it mean for them to become part of Canada, to remember, not from their own country, but from their new country, but especially for the youth. And the youth are involved tomorrow. We're raising the flag, lowering the flag, parading with us. And the Legion supports a lot of cadet units all across the country. So it's a great time to bring the youth back in. And now you can bring your youth, your children down to the War Memorial and not only show them the figures that are on the War Memorial, but also the tomb. And by having this big ceremony, our monument will be explained, what the sculptures are on the monument, why there's different ones there. You know, it's not just all military up there. There's sailors, there's lumbermen up there. So people will get to re-know what the memorial was all about.
The emotion of it all, Monday, how do you think you'll be feeling on that day?
Won't be talking very much.
No.
It's going to be emotional.
Yeah.
My grandfather went over the top 1 July 1916 of Beaumont Hamel. So that always comes back to me. You know, when I'm in Beaumont Hamel, I've been there many times, and it'll come back to me on Monday for sure.
Well, Berkeley Lawrence, I really appreciate everything you've done, and I appreciate you coming in here and speaking with me today, and I hope everything goes well on Monday.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the opportunity.
Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Happy anniversary to Carolyn and Wayne White. They're marking 50 years of marriage. Congratulations to David and Shirley Elliott, who are celebrating their 55th anniversary. It's a golden anniversary for Bill and Ruth Sullivan of Grand Falls, Windsor. Wishing Mont and Sadie Keogh of Kilbride a happy 55th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Randy and Frances Smith of Kelligrews and St. John's, now living in Toronto. Congratulations, Ed and Sheila Parsons from Corner Brook on your 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Florence and Freeman Cook of Corner Brook. Wishing Lloyd and Annette Miller of Trouty a happy 57th anniversary. Happy anniversary to Carol and Glenn Porter of Deer Lake, who are marking their 58th anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Dave and Dolly Hall of Mount Pearl. They've been married 63 years. Teresa and Basil Phillips from Cape St. George are celebrating their 60th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary wishes going out to John and Paulette Evans of Pooch Cove. Happy 56th anniversary to Bruce and Ivy Ackerman of Dildo. Wishing Roma and Arch Green of Burgeo a happy 50th anniversary. Happy anniversary to John and Florence Troke. They're celebrating 70 years of marriage. Susan and Freeman Stagg from Grand Falls, Windsor are celebrating their 50th anniversary. Happy 55th anniversary today to Vincent and Nora Stapleton of Marystown. Wishing Wayne and Valma Parsons of Spaniards Bay a happy 50th anniversary. Happy 55th anniversary to Bill and Bernice Russell of Bay Roberts. Congratulations to Doug and Tina Chater, who are celebrating their 63rd anniversary. Wishing John and Corey Locke of Grand Falls, Windsor a happy 50th anniversary tomorrow. Anniversary greetings going out to Margie and Reggie Carew of Witless Bay. It's their 51st. Happy 60th anniversary tomorrow to Robert and Margaret Martin of Labrador City, now living in Comox, BC. Happy 51st anniversary to Gerald and Catherine McKenna of Fogo Island. They're celebrating today, which also happens to be Gerald's 76th birthday, so happy birthday as well. Happy 60th anniversary to Edward and Kay Daw of Upper Gullies. Frank and Mita Brown from Lethbridge are also celebrating 60 years together. Judy and Selby Rogers of Harbor Grace are celebrating their 52nd anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to Elmo and Shirley Jenkins of Springdale. 54th wedding anniversary wishes going out to Mary and Alex Park of Cox's Cove. Wishing Pat and Dolores Gambin of McIvers a happy 50th anniversary. Happy 63rd anniversary to Earl and Donna Noseworthy of Musgrave Harbor. Calvin and Virginia Payne of St. John's are celebrating their 64th anniversary. It's a 72nd anniversary for Millie and Maxwell Sevier of Exploits Island, now living in St. John's. Happy 64th anniversary to Ross and Geneva Ivany from Mount Pearl. Congratulations to Gerald and Joyce Hannum of Lewisport on their 65th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Cease and Lane Fudge of Lewisport. Happy 50th anniversary also to Jack and Marie Thompson of Coley's Point. Happy anniversary to Basil and Audrey Butt of Mount Pearl. They're marking 56 years together. Congratulations to Terry and Dorothy Collins. They're celebrating 55 years of marriage. Happy 56th anniversary to Richard and Mary Healy of Freshwater, Placentia Bay. Happy 72nd anniversary to William and Louise Cutler from Wareham. Wishing Reverend Nelson and Vita Chapman a happy 53rd anniversary. Happy 57th anniversary to Roland and Ellie Studley from Labrador City. Happy 66th anniversary to Bob and Juanita King from all your family and friends. Now to some birthdays. Happy 100th birthday to Marjorie Cole Perry of Point of Bay, now living in Grand Falls, Windsor. Birthday wishes going out to Catherine Rowe of Pasadena, who just turned 94. Happy birthday to Sid Greeley, who is celebrating his 90th birthday on Monday. Wishing Richard Croucher a happy 90th birthday. He's from Virgin Arm and now lives in Gander. Happy birthday to Jenny Worthman. She's celebrating her 90th birthday. Birthday greetings going out to Marguerite Jane Sutton of Stephenville, who's turning 92. Happy 95th birthday to Gertrude Gladney in St. John's. Happy birthday to Catherine Power of St. John's. Catherine is also known as Kitty and turns 106 tomorrow. And finally, Hazel Brenton in Happy Valley Goose Bay is celebrating her 98th birthday. Hope you have a great one. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. And Ashley, so much of our show this evening was dedicated to the unknown soldier lying in state at Confederation Building. And of course, that's all in the lead up to Monday and Memorial Day and the big ceremony going to be held down at the National War Memorial. A lot of people going to be heading down there.
Yeah.
They're probably going to need a raincoat and maybe an umbrella, right?
I don't know. I don't think so, actually. Okay. It does look like we'll see some rain in the first part of the day. Well, let's just go right into it. The forecast for your Sunday is going to be with the chance of some showers. So the shower activity will likely linger into the first half of Monday. But as far as Sunday is concerned, our temperatures should be sitting somewhere between 16 to 20 degrees. Now, the showers for the Avalon will arrive late day on Sunday and through the overnight, hence lingering into Monday morning. Temperatures up across Labrador will be into the teens, single digits for Nain as you hover around 9 degrees, but you should see some sun in the mix there as well. So here's a look at that area of low pressure through Sunday and again through the overnight and into early Monday morning. Now, this is the best chance of some showers for the Avalon and I do think for St. John's in the metro area. It is going to be breezy to start as well. Southwesterlies will be gusting anywhere from 30 to as much as 50 kilometers per hour, but it's also going to be fairly humid. So temperatures in the morning will likely be in the upper teens. And again, with those windy conditions. Now, the rain should end, and it may end just in time for the ceremony. So you're going to have to keep an eye on that one. But it will likely stay cloudy through mid-morning, but we could actually see some sun in the mix through the afternoon as well. So good news, but it will stay windy right through the afternoon. Most of the island through the day will be in that cloud cover, but again, the chance of showers mainly in the beginning of the day. Overall, humidity will move back in. Temperatures in the 20s, a little cooler towards the west coast. And up across Labrador, things really starting to clear out. You'll see some showers move in late day for Lab City, but overall sunshine and temperatures climbing back up into the 20s for most, except again towards the coast, you'll sit in the mid to upper teens. Long range forecast showing that rain moving back in for Tuesday, pretty heavy at times it looks like. Temperatures will hover around 18 degrees, but the humidity will drop off and we'll see some showers continue into Wednesday. Really next week is actually looking pretty rainy right across through the week rather. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at things drying out for Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures into the low 20s. And for western Newfoundland, you're looking at temperatures in the mid-20s as well. Now for Labrador, your temperatures really starting to warm up back into the mid to upper 20s by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. And western Labrador, you're looking at a few showers on Tuesday, but drying out for Wednesday. This is a lovely sunset here. This is Canagra Bay. Wesley shared this great shot with us. And if you have any weather photos, you can send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, that is beautiful. Just gorgeous colors in that. Thank you so much for that, Wesley. And just before we go, just a reminder, our CBC News special, Newfoundland and Labrador's Unknown Soldier, which will be hosted by Heather Hiscox, begins Monday morning at 9 o'clock Island time. That's a half an hour earlier in most parts of Labrador. And for more Memorial Day coverage, you can tune in to Here and Now Monday evening for highlights from the day. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great weekend.
Good night.